Are there any ties between Mr. Trump, you or your campaign, and Putin and his regime?
No, there are not. It's absurd, and there's no basis to it.
That's Paul Manafort. You may remember Manafort as Trump's second campaign manager, the one after Corey Lewandowski and before Kellyanne Conway. Manafort is currently a person of interest in the FBI's investigation into Russia's alleged meddling in the 2016 presidential election. But Manafort has reportedly been under FBI surveillance since 2014, and his ties to Russia date even further back than that. Manafort began his career in politics by helping wrangle delegates for Gerald Ford's showdown with Reagan in 1976. Manafort worked on several other campaigns, including Reagan's 1980 bid, George H.W. Bush's 1989 campaign, and Bob Dole's unsuccessful 1996 run. Lobbying was on the rise, and Manafort capitalized on it. In the midst of Reagan's candidacy, he co-founded Black, Manafort, Stone, and Kelly, the half-lobbyist group, half-political consulting firm. Time magazine called the firm the ultimate supermarket of influence peddling.
You are as connected to the insider game of what you've even said on record yourself, influence peddling, as anybody. How can you be the antidote or anything to help Trump when you seem to go against his main message?
Depends on who you talk to.
The firm was notorious for signing multi-million-dollar deals with controversial dictators from all over the world in exchange for rehabbing their tarnished images in America. And that's where his ties to Russia began. Manafort most notably advised Ukrainian candidate Viktor Yanukovych through a series of presidential elections. At the time, Yanukovych was considered a controversial figure due to his close ties to Russia and endorsement by Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Sound familiar?
If our country got along with Russia, that would be a great thing.
Manafort spent nearly a decade as a consultant to Yanukovych's pro-Russian Party of Regions and as an advisor to Yanukovych himself. Manafort eventually guided Yanukovych to the presidency in 2010. But after prolonged protests, Yanukovych fled to Russia and was ousted from his post in 2014. It was around this time that the FBI reportedly began wiretapping Manafort. Manafort also has ties with Oleg Deripaska, a pro-Putin oligarch and Russian billionaire. Manafort signed an annual $10 million deal with Deripaska that committed him to work around the world and promote the interests of Vladimir Putin's Russian government. Fast forward to 2016. Trump was looking for someone to wrangle delegates in the lead-up to the Republican National Convention, so he tapped one of the best in the game, Paul Manafort.
Now there are people in the national security apparatus who are saying that they have questions about Donald Trump now getting classified briefings because of you, because of your close ties to Viktor Yanukovych and others. How do you respond to that?
Well, there are so many different parts of that we said are wrong. First of all, I don't see the classified briefings. Donald Trump sees the classified briefings.
You're not in the room when he receives them?
Not in the room when he receives them. He doesn't talk to me about them. So there's a total barrier there. Secondly, I have no foreign clients now. I have no clients. I have one client, Donald Trump.
With his new position secured, Manafort, along with Donald Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner, met with Russian attorney Natalia Veselnitskaya, reportedly to obtain damaging evidence on Hillary Clinton. Manafort was soon promoted to campaign chairman after Trump fired Corey Lewandowski from the position in June 2016.
You already knew the campaign, and there was not a lot of structure there, so you could come in.
Yeah, they'd gotten to a point where there were technical things that the campaign needed that weren't there, that Donald Trump wasn't focusing on because he was dealing with the American people.
While Trump was dealing with the American people, it appeared Manafort was dealing with Russian officials. Manafort reportedly sent an email to his long-lost billionaire buddy, Oleg Deripaska, offering private briefings on the campaign. Meanwhile, Trump seemed to be friendlier than ever with Russia. The Trump campaign worked behind the scenes to make sure that the GOP's new platform would not be able to provide Ukrainians with the weapons they need to combat Russian rebel forces.
Do you know what they did?
They softened it, I heard, but I was not involved.
They took away the part of the platform calling for provision of lethal weapons to Ukraine to defend themselves. Why is that a good idea?
Look, I have my own ideas. He's not going into Ukraine, okay? Just so you understand. He's not going to go into Ukraine.
By August 2016, the Associated Press reported that secret documents revealed handwritten, off-the-books data showing $12.7 million in funds made out to Manafort from the pro-Russian political Party of Regions. It was also reported that Manafort may have secretly routed $2.2 million to two different Washington lobbying firms in 2012, in the interest of the Party of Regions, which Manafort did not disclose. Embroiled in allegations, Manafort excused himself from the campaign, reportedly at Trump's request.
Well, I became a block to his ability to communicate his message. I didn't think it was fair. The allegations were not true, but the reality is I became a block, and my goal was to get Donald Trump elected president of the United States.
And now, it's 1 year later. It's been revealed that Manafort was being wiretapped under secret court orders before and after the election. Robert Mueller, the newly minted prosecutor in the Russian probe, ordered the FBI to raid Manafort's Virginia home. Mueller's team told Manafort to expect an indictment, after confiscating binders filled with documents and computer files. Manafort has since reworked his legal team, trading in for attorneys who specialize in, quote, complicated financial crimes.
So to be clear, Mr. Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.